Carlos Puzzle. Carlos first heard about the maze on a cool afternoon in autumn. He liked nothing better than working his way through mazes. In fact, he was an expert at finding the path from beginning to end without getting lost. And knew many tricks maze makers used to distort people trying to find a solution to their puzzle. He was in the kitchen creating a special ham sandwich with ham, lettuce, onions, chicken, pickles, mayo, mustard, and peanut butter. When his mother came with Ulf, Ulf barked one, wagged his tail, panted at the ham, sat down and stared up at Carlos. Ulf knew that Carlos would fed him because Carlos always fed him. Carlos did everything for Ulf. He filled Ulf's bowl, took him for walks, and brushed him when he was matted. He even let Ulf asleep behind him. Carlos tossed off a small piece of ham and went back to creating his masterpiece. "Have you told Javier yet?" Carlos asked as he folded his sandwich together and took a bite. Javier was Carlos' big brother, and he had no interest in mazes whatsoever. Not yet. He'll hate it, you know. If it doesn't have something to do with sports, well, you know what I mean. And I know he won't be thrilled, Mom said as she worked, but we went to Sportsplex for him. This time we are doing the maze for you. Javier burst into the kitchen as Carlos was putting the dishes into a dishwasher. Javier was wet, loud, and invigorated. "I did it again," he boomed, and he opened the refrigerator door and yanked out the ham. "Make me a ham sandwich, little bro, because I am the man. I'm the king of the playing field with 3 base hits and a home run, and I deserve a reward." Carlos considered telling his brother to make his own sandwich when his mother stepped in and told Javier that a big star like him was perfectly capable of making his own sandwich. Some days Javier made his little brother feel like the things Carlos was good at didn't matter. Carlos got better grades in school. He was an expert chess player and an excellent cook. And he was brilliant on the computer. Javier could not care less. "Play chess with me, Javier," Carlos could say. "Chess? Why would I play a boring game like chess when I could be hitting home runs or making touchdowns? I'm going out to throw some passes. Have fun thinking about your next chess move for 3 hours." As Javier ate his sandwich, he learned of his family trip to a maze. "What a corn maze?" Javier asked through a mouthful of his monster sandwich. "They're like the mazes in my puzzle books, only 3D and made by cutting paths to stalks in cornfields," Carlos explained. "Some of them are based on hedge labyrinth designs that are hundreds and hundreds of years old. Most of those are easy to walk through," Carlos added. "Some are more modern in design. Take up a crest of land and take hours to solve. The one we're going to is supposed to be difficult, but not impossible." "Not really my thing," Javier muttered. "I'll stay with a friend. We're all going," his father said firmly, and Carlos was glad his dad stuck up for him. A contest. That night for bed, Carlos came up with a plan and discussed it with Ulf. "So here's my plan, Ulf. I'll challenge JV to a contest. The first one through a maze will be a winner. He's faster, but I'm smarter, so I think I can beat him." Javier was on his bed in his room, and he and Carlos shared, lost in the tiny music. that was leaking from his headphones. After a while, he took off his headphones and sat up. "So, little bro," he said, "if I have to go to this boarding maze, maybe we should make a contest event to make it more exciting." Oz couldn't believe his big brother was really going to suggest the exact same thing he had just thought. He couldn't have planned it better. "How about we say let's go through a maze? Just all the chores in the house for a month," Xavier continued. Well, okay," Carlos said, trying to sound calm. "It's a deal then," Xavier agreed. Then he laughed. Carlos and his family piled into the car the next afternoon to drive to the farm with the corn maze. When the people were settled, Alf crawled in and promptly fell asleep on Carlos' feet as Dad drove to the farm. Xavier mentioned the contest at least 10 times. He set up rules and boundaries. He reminded Carlos to prepare for a very long, exhausting month of chores and told him over and over again that he had no chance of winning. Carlos didn't answer Xavier, not even once. The maze. Finally, the family arrived at the bustling farm, and Carlos would begin to put an end to Xavier's boasting. All around them, people were ducking through rows of apple trees, carrying paper bags full of apples they had just picked. Still others struggled to carry freshly picked pumpkins to the car. Xavier, Carlos, and Alf ignored it all and headed straight for the corn maze. At the entrance, his brothers waited their turn as dozens of people stepped into the maze to try their wits at finding a solution. A trial edged closer and closer. All panted heavily in anticipation. 1, 2, 3, go! Xavier shouted as soon as it became their turn. Xavier took off, disappearing quickly onto the first path, the right that cut through tall brown corn stalks. Carlos and Alf did not move. Carlos was thinking, and Alf was waiting. "Okay, Alf," Carlos finally said. "This may be one of the most difficult mazes we've ever tried, but we're clever. We can beat it. Xavier will try to race through the maze, but that's not the way to win. Our strategy will be to take our time and think about each of the paths." Carlos started out with Alf following close behind. He knew the maze was created to make a picture of an apple tree full of fruits from a billboard he had seen from a car on his way here. His experience with the other mazes told him that the maze's part was probably at the base of a tree trunk, and that there were most likely 3 possible paths to the maze, each of its own exit at the top of the tree. It didn't take Carlos long to remember where he had been or to figure out the correct path. After 10 minutes, he knew he had to be close to the exit. He couldn't believe he had solved the maze so quickly. Carlos came to a dead end. He quickly retraced his steps to crossroads, where he had taken a left fork and instead took a right. As Carlos took on, finding his way, turning back, considering his options, he could imagine his brother crashing around in the middle of a maze. Carlos knew he could easily win this contest now. He was so close to the exit, and then he thought he could also hear Xavier. And he chuckled as he heard Xavier shouting about how unfair it was that he had found himself in a dead end for a third time. It took Carlos about another 5 minutes before he saw the exit in front of him. Carlos raised his arm in victory and started to jog like a finished fueling, much like Sylvester Stallone in Rocky. Carlos could hardly believe it. His big brother would have to respect his win, and Xavier would be doing his chores for a whole month. He felt he was floating. And then Carlos heard Xavier again. This time Xavier was yelling. He almost sounded panicked, but Carlos couldn't be sure. What should we do? What if Xavier was trying to trick Carlos to keep him from finishing the maze? Carlos was in a dilemma. he could take the final steps to the exit and win and forget about JV. Or he could jeopardize his win, believe JV was in trouble, and go back to help him. He could even stay where he was and hope that others in the maze would help his brother. Carlos stood there and looked out off. And JV started calling for help, saying, "Seriously, bro, this is no joke." Carlos felt Javier must be hurt. He had to do something, so he retraced his steps. He checked the maze path near JV's cries, but he didn't find Javier. They went back to the next junction and went right because he had come from the left. As the path looped in front of Carlos, you could see Javier running shoes sticking out from where the corn curved. Javier looked up, looked like he had been trying to pull himself up, but he had twisted his ankle badly in a hollow worn in the dirt path. "So, little bro, you got here fast," Javier said, cracking a grin. "You must not have been too far ahead of me." "Let's just get you out here," said Carlos as Javier threw his arm around Carlos' shoulders to support his weight. As they walked, JV boasted about how he was running down the path with his mind on the exit, so he didn't see the hole. He was going so fast, and he was surprised. Not even Hercules would have stopped himself from going down. "I've wiped out before," Javier said, "but I didn't see this one coming." "I'm glad you weren't too far ahead," he continued. "I tried to walk, but when I tried to put weight on my ankle, it just gave out. I definitely wasn't going to hop all the way out." "A win. Actually, little bro, I was almost out when I heard you yelling," Carlos said quietly. Javier looked up. You could see the exit clearly. Storytelling had distracted him from the fact that they were still inside the maze and still in the contest. "Well, what do you know?" Javier said, looking his brother in the eye. "It looks like I'm doing chores for a month." I saw the flash of pride in Javier's eyes before it disappeared. That was better than winning. Bye.